Hey guys, today's episode is a special one because we're kicking off with the bunny challenge. But what is the bunny challenge? Over the years I had the opportunity to work with a lot of artists, and every time it was a pleasure seeing how two different styles come together to create something unique. During the pandemic I had quite a bit of time to think about a project that could bring a lot of people together that can realize something amazing in the field of illustration. After numerous messages and sketches, I managed to gather 32 people whom I admired and who collaborated to create the Collective Hive. The link is in the description, so don't forget to check it out. Today I'll be doing the same thing, but everybody is welcome to join. I'll try to post a template constantly that you can download and draw over. After I get the drawings from you, I'll make a clip and we'll discuss the drawings together. If you like what I do and want to see more videos like this, a like and a subscribe would be greatly appreciated. Alright, no time to waste, let's start the bunny challenge. Before we start drawing, we need a little bit of inspiration. I want to create a character that's fantasy inspired, so for this I'll be looking up some materials that will give me a feeling for the drawing. Probably the best sources for what I want to do are cartoons and video games. Here we can find a ton of inspiration, but you have to be careful how much research you do because we still have to draw. As you may have guessed, today's challenge theme is Dungeons and Dragons, so let's move on to the sketch. The most important thing is to be relaxed and draw as loose as possible, and surely something cool will come out. So don't worry, at this stage it doesn't have to look good, it's just the base over which we'll build the sketch. Now that we have a direction, it's time to start drawing. Alright, so for the outline we'll select the drawing tool, then we'll go to the calligraphy section where we have the script brush. I'll select it, tap on the screen, and we can start drawing. This brush is my favorite because it creates very smooth lines, so it's perfect for outlines. I've chosen to make a bard who has traveled throughout different planes of existence, accumulating stories and songs from the entire multiverse. And from you I expect to see different fighters, mages, necromancers who will help us complete this challenge. At this stage of the drawing I want to make sure all the details are in place, because if you have a good outline, it will be easier later on. One of the functions I use a lot and which you can see in action now is quick shape. If you draw a line and hold the pen a little longer on the tablet, it will create a perfect line that you can modify. Besides saving us a lot of time, it's very useful when working with curved lines or when we want to draw perfectly straight lines. I'm almost done with the outline, I'll add a few more small details and then we can move on. We'll select adjustments, gradient map, and that's how we can change the color of the outline. We'll use color drop to fill in the drawing more easily, just drag the color and the whole area will be colored. For the small areas that require precision, like the sleeves and the dice, we'll use the pencil. Our character is a bard, so I'll try to give him a green uniform, something reminiscent of Robin Hood. Now that I've finished coloring the character, it's time to move on to the background. Behind the bunny there's a mist that I'll color with fluorescent green. Again, I'll use the color drop for the trees in the background to make everything go faster, as well as for the skull below. This is a very useful function. I'm almost done filling the basic colors, there are a few elements left to color, like the sky, which I've made dark blue. The scene we're drawing takes place at night, on the edge of a forest, where our bard is waiting to start his quest. After making the eyes orange, we can move on to the shadows and details. Like earlier, I'll use the script brush for shadows, and I'll repeat the process several times until the drawing has the appropriate depth. The shadows were made on a separate layer, in case you want to change something in the drawing later. It's good to be organized. I started with the clothes, where I used several shades of green to highlight the uniform. This is the most important part of the drawing, so the lines need to be very clean and the shadows need to be visible. Everything looks nice, we're almost done with the clothes, only a few things are left to color, like his magical loot and the armor. Then I'll move on to the chicken on his shoulder and the other elements that still need shadow. It starts to take shape. Now that I finished with the character, we can move on to the background elements and the trees. Here we'll use several shades of blue for the shadow so they don't look so flat. After making sure everything is okay with the trees, we can move on to the sky. We'll make some gradients and more white dots to give the impression of a starry sky. I'll go over with another round of shadows, this time darker, and then we can move on to the highlights. After the second round of shadows, it already looks much better. Thank you for sticking around, we're almost done. For the highlights, we'll do the same thing as we did with the shadows. We'll take each element separately, and where the light hits, we'll put a lighter shade of color. This is my favorite part of the whole process, because we can experiment with different details. In the top right corner we'll select the drawing tool, but this time we'll look for airbrush. Select soft brush and tap on the screen. This way we can add some glow to the fog at the bottom on a separate layer. Now that the fog is lit, we need to add some highlights to our character in the areas that come into contact with the green light. Alright, so we're almost done. All we have to do is finish with the highlights, then we can add some numbers on the dice and we can start the quest. Now that everything is ready, it's your turn to join in and continue the adventure with the character. The link to the template will be in the description and on our Discord server, where I invite you all to join and talk about your drawings. After accessing the link, you'll be able to download the files in PSD or Procreate format, both with separate layers, so you can draw more easily on them. Once you got the file, it's time to apply what you've learned in this video and create your own hero. And after you're done, I'm looking forward to seeing your drawings on our Discord server. That's it for today. I'm really curious to see which heroes will be joining us for this challenge, and if you like this video or have any suggestions, make sure to drop them in the comment sections below. Don't forget to subscribe, and until next time, see you right here on the Bunny Network.